So I'm Chrissy Jolly, and I'm an ACSA Member Services part of the team and a co-administrator. Today's format is going to be kind of broken up into two segments. The first segment is a presentation, and then the second segment will be about networking, and we'll break into some small groups and really get into the dirt of the day-to-day. Let's see, we would like to thank our partners, Brandman University. Thank you, Josh Peterson from ACSA IT. The music was awesome. Thank you, Margie, for organizing this event. And thank you to ACSA Member Services for collaborating with Co-Admin Council to provide this opportunity for us to learn and stay connected. So I would like to introduce the one and only Sherman Garnett. Sherman is the CEO of Sherman Garnett and Associates, is a veteran 38-year educator who has been a teacher, coach, dean, assistant principal at both the comprehensive and alternative school level, at the district office, county office level administrator. He is additionally a current adjunct faculty member in the area of school law and teacher assessment training at Cambridge University and California State University, San Bernardino for the past 14 years. Mr. Garnett is the past president of the California Association of Supervisors of Child Welfare and Attendance Section, Association of California School Administrators, Student Services, and Special Education Council, a member of the executive board of the National Truancy Prevention Association, and is currently serving at his appointed position by the California State Superintendent of Schools as a member of the California State Review Attendance California State School Attendance Review, the SAR board, right? SAR board, kind of B board, but the SAR board. Thank you for that, by the way. Sherman has served as chairman and keynote presenter trainer at 4 national truancy prevention conferences held throughout the nation, and just completed, via collaboration with other entities throughout the state of California, an extensive truancy prevention manual, which can be accessed at no cost online. And if you haven't had an opportunity to check those out, let them be your guidance to your daily practices, your co-admin Bible. It is really a great resource to have. So without further ado, Mr. Sherman Garnett.
Well, thank you for inviting me today. Thank you. Now, this is not going to be me talking and you listening, taking notes. First of all, number one, at the end of today, I will send to Chrissy and to Josh I'll send you a copy of the PowerPoint to make sure that you have received it and that you keep it and use it as a reference guide and tool, number one. Number two is I'm going to be picking on you with love. For example, I see Melissa's smiling face, but I don't see no face. I see an avatar. I hate avatars. You know what I mean? I want to see the real deal. Okay. You know what I mean? Like Annette there. She's the real deal. Okay. And so I want to see I don't want to call upon you. All righty. So work with love and see if you're doing your job or not. Okay. But with that in mind, I'm going to share the screen right now. And this is, here we go. Share. All right. And I hope everybody can see it. This is I call the top 10 recent legal requirements for administrators at the school site. As many times as assistant principals, you are there to put out the fires. That's all you do. You put out fires all day long. From the time the parent walks in the door complaining about my child's been bullied or some other situation, they stole my kid's lunch money, you know what I mean, et cetera. They got a bad grade, the teacher's no good. You're out there to put out the fire. Your job as assistant principal is to prevent the fires. Prevent the fires. That way you get to move up in the world and become an instructional leader, etc. I also tell my assistant principals here today, you also cannot kill yourself during the daytime and wear yourself out. You have to eat. I can tell you, for every 20 assistant principals that there are, 19 of them don't take a lunch. They take a 5-second lunch. They throw it in their mouth and keep moving. They bring their lunch to work in the morning, and what happens at the end of the day? It's still sitting there. They go home, they're tired. They can't be coaching soccer for their 7-year-old. They're burnt out. They're waiting for the next fire to put out. And then on the weekends, and you're still trying to recover. So this presentation is there to help you out, and again, also guide you and keep you going. I also have a listserv. If you send me an email to my ACSA Members Services email address, I tell people across the state the latest tools, tricks of the trade, latest legal things are happening, things to prepare yourself for, for the future. That way, it's not a hand down where the district office tells you, okay, now you got to do this, this, and this. You're already prepared for it and prepped and ready to rock and roll. And so I do that ahead of time, and it's a no service. I don't sell you anything, because I live a good life, praise God. So with that in mind, we're going to get started here. I see my friends, we got some Upland Unified friends in here today. Mr. Richie Vega, recent graduate of the Pupil Services Academy last year. He's here. So Richie, thanks for coming. We appreciate it. And then go from there. So we're going to start with our first slide. I hope this thing works. Now, wait a minute, slideshow from the beginning. There we go. All right, the first thing we're going to talk about today is a very, very critical item here. It's about bullying and mental health services. Now, I'm going to take you back. This is important because the bullying and the mental health services piece is huge right now, particularly when our kids come back to school right now. And I want to talk to you about and set the stage for you with AB 9 SES law. SES law was put back in effect back in 2014, but nobody cares about it. And it requires that you post in all schools, all faculty lounges, and all ASB rooms your bullying policies, reporting procedures, etc. It has to be posted. If you're not, you're a walk-in lawsuit. I can tell you, if you're an elementary principal, for every 10 parents that walks in, if you're an elementary assistant principal, for every 10 parents that walk into the school site, they're not saying I'm here to volunteer at the school. I want to help out with the with the PTA. They're there to say my child's been bullied, but they don't know what the definition of bullying is. And so that has to be reported. It has to be compliant. Along with that, because of the fact that nobody was doing it, I can tell you right now, and the people who are here today, I can tell you it's not happening at your school site right now. I'm gonna get real with you. It's a simple posting. I have samples I can send you how it should be posted. It tells you the posting should be how to report bullying. Okay, what's going to happen, what the timelines are, what the rights of the bully are, what the rights of the victims are, etc. Because it's so bad, AB 34 was signed into law last year. AB 34 was James Ramos's bill, and he is a assemblyman from San Bernardino County, where I live. And he requires now that you have to post your bullying policies and procedures on the front page of your district and your site website. You also have to put down what mental health services are available out there and your suicide prevention resources. Many of our kids will be coming back to school very shortly, and it's going to be sooner before you know it. We're going to get our kids back in school, and they're going to have all types of suicide and mental health issues that we got to worry about it. It is so bad right now nationwide that Las Vegas schools, which is Clark County, Nevada, they had a special board meeting last week, and they're battling out because they want to bring all the kids back now because their number of teen suicides and youth suicides has tripled in the last year, tripled. And they're blaming it on the pandemic. And so our kids are going to have lots of needs out there. And so I'm going to pick on some folks with love, and I'm going to pick on Miss Chrissy, who introduced me, because she's the AP. We want to get her straight, check. Okay, Miss Chrissy, talk to us. Tell us what you do allegedly to the group, what your position is right now, and if you're compliant with this law. Go ahead, confess your sins.
All right, confession time. Usually there's like a wall up when I do this, but this is straight up. So I am a TK8 elementary to middle school assistant principal. And on our website, we have our bullying reporting, anonymous bullying reporting, and how to do that. And we do have our suicide prevention, but we do not have our mental health services. That's something we do systematically, and didn't even dawn on me that we should be posting that to parents and communicating to parents. That's how we should be, how we're handling our students right now. So thank you for that.
And is it on the front page of your website?
Oh.
Or is it buried?
No, it is in parent resources. You are right.
It has to be on the front page. You can't hunt and peck and look for it. I can tell you, like I said, I got Upland Unified here today, Mr. Richie Vega. If you go to Upland Unified's website, they got right here, report bullying right now. Boom, it's right there. Alex, Charter Oaks Finest. I'll get on Maria Thompson right now. If you want me, I can give her a call on her cell number and straighten her out if you're not doing your job. Come on, talk to us, Alex. Confess your sin.
All right. We do have the postings for procedures and complaints in every room, including lounge, ASB room.
Awesome.
I got that. I need to double check about the front page bullying and mental health. So I thought you were gonna pick on me later, Sherman. So I don't have the two screens, but I know it's in there. Sherman, it's in there.
Great, glad to hear that, because again, this is going to be huge, because also too, we have another bill, AB 2022, that says we have to notify parents of what mental health resources are available at the school site and in the community. That's another huge one right there. Annette Rigo, you got your avatar on there. Talk to me. Tell us what you do, Annette, allegedly for the schools, and how long you've been doing it, and are you in compliance with the law? If you're there, Annette, come on. We got to smile and show your face now. Is she there? Go ahead. She's not there, eh? Okay, Amy. I know you were at Bramley, so we're going to give you a pass, a temporary pass, that is. Okay. Let's go with Miss Gretchen Murphy. She's smiling. Go ahead, Gretchen. Tell us who you are, what you do allegedly for the schools. And are you in compliance?
I am an assistant principal at a K-5 or TK-5 school in Poway, California. And let's see, true confession. We do have it on the front page of our district website.
Awesome.
We do not have it on the front page of our school site website. To my knowledge, I'm going to have to go double check that. And we definitely don't have our procedures posted prominently anywhere in the school. So that's something we need to work on.
Yes, you're a walk-in lawsuit waiting to happen. Remember, ACSA only has $3 million of personal liability insurance for you. Right, Margie? That's all we have, $3 million. It'll run out fast. Okay? So we need you. So thank you. So again, this should be your job tomorrow morning to make sure it's being posted, et cetera, et cetera. Very important here. I'm going to continue on to the next one. The next one is, again, all these mental health issues and all the complaints that are happening here. We have another new law. AB 543 was signed by the governor last year. And it requires every school site that serves grades 9 through 12 that they have to create a poster that notifies pupils of the sexual harassment policy, including reporting procedures as well. Now, you notice there's a big connect between sexual harassment and bullying, because it is almost the same, you know. And so these policies have to be prominently displayed in all locker rooms and restrooms. And all new and continuing students must be notified yearly of the policy. Compliance, yes or no? Evidence. Mr. Gerald Matthews, you got your hand on your mouth there. You're looking like you're worried. Tell us what you do allegedly. Gerald, who do you work for?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gerald Matthews. I'm an assistant principal at 2 TK through 6 elementary schools in Colton Joint Unified.
In Colton, okay, all righty. Glad to hear that. And let's go back, since that it wouldn't affect you in the sexual harassment, but let's talk about the bullying prevention procedures. Are you in compliance? Yes or no, sir?
With the most recent one that you mentioned, no.
Wow, I got to call people in Colton. Jam them up. Okay. I think the number is 580-5000 is the phone number. That's the district office phone number, I believe. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, it's amazing. I have to think on numbers, you know. Okay. I can call people up and say, what's going on here? You know, but this is real, folks. We have to have it. A lot of our kids are out of schools right now. They're coming back in hybrid programs, or they're coming back shortly. And again, this is very important that we have to notify all the kids of the policy. It has to be posted. Now they're going to say, well, they're going to tear it down. You know what I mean? And you're going to put it right back up, you know. But this is very important, folks, that we follow this law and these procedures here. That's number 2. Next one, student issued ID cards. We have had 2 bills that came out recently. Senate Bill 316 in 2020, and we also had a previous bill before that, the previous year. And because of the issues with mental health right now, we have to have now on the back of all public school ID cards, that includes charters as well, because charters are still public schools. On the back of those ID cards in grades 6 through 12, if you serve this 6th graders only, you have to have the suicide prevention hotline number, it's an 800 number. Another new requirement this year, you have to have the domestic violence hotline number on the back of all those ID cards as well. And so as you can see here, the big focus now with the legislature and with education is on the mental health piece. We want you to be ahead of the game. And so we have Monica there. You're walking back and forth there. Tell us what you do, Monica, allegedly, who you work for. I can't hear you. You're muting yourself out there. Go ahead.
Let's try that. I'm Monica Schneider. I'm an assistant principal at Andrew Hill in the East Side District in San Jose. And I'm excited to say we're actually in compliant with this one, even though we didn't know we were supposed to. It was just something we did years ago. But the previous two items where we are not in compliance, nor at the district level. I'm looking at those websites. So we got some work to do.
See, what we're giving you today is job security, aren't we? Okay, so again, we greatly appreciate that. We have my friend, Mr. Richie Vega, the director of CWA, Student Services, Positive Prevention in Upland. Come on, Richie, talk to us, brother. We talk this about every week, Lise, anyway. So Richie's going to give us his take on all these 3 things we talked about so far. Go ahead, brother Richie. He's also a graduate of the ACSA Pupil Services Academy.
So I've had to confess my sins on multiple occasions. So I'm happy to say that we do have these updates taken care of on our district website. The sexual harassment posters, the sites have them, but they are we're not in attendance right now. But just confirming with all the administrators to make sure that we do have those up when students return to campus, and we use the template that was created. I believe that you were able to help out with that, Mr. Garnett, as well. So.
Great, thank you. Appreciate you participating and showing up today. All righty. Any questions? Again, if you have any questions, unmute yourself. Ask the questions. We're here to help and here to serve. Okay, we're going to move on to the next item here. Oh, this is another big one here. Homework during the period of suspension. You know, in the past, per Ed Code 48913, a lot of kids, once they were suspended from school, they weren't allowed to make up the work, or they were allowed to make it, depending on the teacher. The teacher had the right to say yes or no in terms of making up the work. This kind of same applies to unexcused absences as well. Kids had a choice of going to what they call Saturday school, or weekend classes, and they were able to make up the work. But bottom line was that until recently, kids were not allowed to make up work. They got suspended. And what happened a couple of years ago, a couple of kids on the senior prank, they tore up the school, got suspended for 5 days, and a couple of teachers say, you know what? You tore up my school, so therefore you're not graduating. You're gonna get F's in your classes your senior year. You're gonna go to summer school and give us havoc, and make it hard on everybody else. But so enter our legislature, Chris Holden out of Pasadena, and this is now a new law that requires teachers, upon request of the parent, to provide homework for a student who has been suspended for 2 or more school days. So again, this is a new law. It does not apply to students who are suspended for 1 day. However, I do recommend that you provide homework for all suspended students. Michelle Smith, tell us who you are, what you do allegedly for the schools, and talk about these 3 things we talked about so far. Okay, Michelle, you there? All righty. Okay, everybody kind of hiding today. What's going on here? Okay.
Mr. Garnett.
Go ahead.
Hey, I have a question for you. So
Sure.
I know a while back, teachers would, and I'm sure they still do, they would deduct points or only give half credit for students that were suspended. Does the law say full credit?
Yes, full credit.
Okay, thank you.
So in other words, we're going to beat you down regardless, And so it's very important, folks. Basically, the legislature said we want to give these kids a chance because, again, kids make mistakes. Ms. Goda, Talk to us, please. You got your avatar up there. Come on, we want to see your face.
And Sherman, Michelle Smith was trying to turn her camera on, so she is up. I see her. If you want to call on her again.
Hold on 1 second, folks. Hold on 1 second. What did you say?
I almost feel bad for the kids who used to have sick days or like snow days, because with all the technology and everything that's now, like, they don't have those days anymore. It's like, I'll just pop
Okay,
online.
I'm back right here. I had to answer a quick question here. Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay, can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, of the first 4 items, are you in compliance with?
No, unfortunately not. I think we do have it in our school safety plan or the binder that anybody can access, but we don't have it up on site. And so that's something that we do need to work on as well. I am an AP in a K-6 dual immersion school in Orange County.
Great, thank you for sharing. But again, it doesn't matter, these issues here cross all cultural and economic boundaries. And so these things are going to happen. And these parents are going to, and the kids need help. Like I said, again, there's going to be a lot of suspensions, I suspect, when these kids come back to school, because it's going to be, the mental health issues are going to kick in. Because when you think about it, when you suspend a child from school, it is really a mental health issue with these kids. If they fight, it's an anger management issue, possibly, most of the time. Defiance is a mental health issue. And so it's important that we let our teachers know, et cetera, and work with these kids. Moving along to the next one, the shots. Oh, this is a big one right now. These are other new, because our kids are going to be coming back to school, and we need to know about our shot laws. Now, here's the latest shot law. Let you know right now, and we know right now because of our kids started the year out, particularly in the kindergarten and first grade, that didn't bring the shots. So they didn't, they maybe went to an enrollment center and kind of downloaded them, but nobody really checked it out because our kids are really away from each other. But when we come back, this is going to be a mandate. When these kids come back, that we have to have these shots for the kids at school, particularly in kindergarten, transitional kindergarten, first grade, and 7th grade, because 7th graders have to have that big one called the Tdap shot. And to see how right you folks are here, I want to see what Miss Stephanie Brown, are you there? Tdap shot. Tell us what a Tdap shot is. Hey, Miss Stephanie, do you know what that is? Catching everybody slipping, they aren't they? No Stephanie Brown, eh? Okay. All righty. Okay. All right. But she must be watching the impeachment trial on TV, I guess, isn't she? Okay. All righty. Let's move along here. Cy Olson, are you there? Wow, everybody got scared here. What happened here today? I chased everybody away? Okay. Christy Espino, talk to us. All right, Christy, old one.
You want me to say what? Oh, sorry, I have my order on. You want me to tell you what the Tdap is, or whether I'm in compliance?
Yeah, what is a Tdap shot? You know any idea what that is?
It prevents diphtheria and pertussis, which I think is whooping cough.
You're doing good. We got to give you an actual award now. And it's a required shot for 7th grade. Can you tell us what you do, please? What school district you are and what you're doing allegedly there?
I am from Glendora Unified School District, and I am the assistant principal at Sandburg Middle School, and I'm serving as the director of innovation right now for the district as well.
Great, because this is a huge one, and since you're at the middle school, because when these kids come back, all of the 7th graders must have that Tdap shot. Tdap is tetanus, diphtheria, and acellular pertussis, commonly known as whooping cough. And here's what the law says now. Parents of all students must, I repeat the word, must show proof of required shots before they can come to the classroom. There is an exception, that the exemption letter has to be signed by a physician indicating that the student would be harmed by accepting the vaccine. And then they have to fill out a special form, which is a new law that's provided by the Department of Public Health. And the Department of Public Health, if they fill out 5 or more, though, that same doctor will be investigated by the Department of Public Health, because there are a lot of people out there that bully the physicians, saying, I don't believe in shots. Shots causes autism. I have a personal belief or a religious belief about shots. But the law is real clear. You have to have a shot in order to go to school unless you have an exemption letter. And if you don't want to have the shot, parents have two options right now currently. They can place their student in a district independent study program, or they can homeschool their child. Homeschooling your child means they contact the California Department of Education per Ed Code 33190. They complete what is called a private school affidavit that they are going to form their own private school and teach their own child with no assistance from the local school district in any way, shape, or form. We've had a surge in that this year because of the distance learning. We've also had a surge because of parents do not want to take the shots. But this is real, folks. And like I said again, I strongly recommend and urge that you take care of that.
Sherman, would now be a good time to pick on Alice Petrosian from Brandman?
Yes, we do. You go right ahead.
Victim.
Go ahead. All righty. We're going to turn it over to Brandman right now for a quick sponsor break. Talk to everybody.
And if you need a moment to stand up and listen, Alice, are you there?
I'm right here.
You get it, girl.
What a wonderful opportunity to present to you the fact that ACSA has some truly outstanding partners. These partners are what make some of the programming we do for you a reality. And one of these outstanding partners is Brandman University, who for years has been a part of ACSA's member services partnerships. And we are so pleased that they are going to share their story with you now. Amy?
Thank you so much, Alice. Oh, go ahead.
Before Amy goes, Sherman, can I ask you to stop screen sharing so people can see her?
Surely, not a problem. Go right ahead.
Wow. Okay, now you can really see me. Hi, everybody. My name's Amy. Thank you so much for having me pop on here. Usually my counterpart, Dr. Barbara Bartles, is the one that really steals the show here with ACSA, but I'm having so much fun on this webinar, so I'm glad I was able to jump on here. But Brandman University, if you are not familiar with us, we are a private nonprofit university affiliated with Chapman University. We have 26 different campuses along California, Washington, and Oregon. And so if you are not connected with your local Brandman person, you can reach out to me directly and I can ping you to the right person. You can always work with Barbara if you're familiar with her. But having that local face is really important because we want to provide you the support and services you and your staff need. So whether that's add-on credentials, you know, the CTEL I know is really hot and popping right now. So if you guys need that in your district, like I said, added authorizations, let us know how we can support you, different certifications and things like that. Real quickly, I want to address the elephant in the room. If you have not heard our big news, more information is coming. But Brandman University is going through a change of control and a name change. So you'll learn a little bit more information, but we're hoping by spring, summer timeframe, we're actually going to be renamed to UMass Global, and we're going to be an affiliate of the University of Massachusetts. Our teaching credentials will stay California based, so don't worry about any of that, but more details to come. We're really excited about the change. It's going to provide a lot more opportunity and resources to our students. So just really excited about that, and we'll share more like actual like press release information will go out to ACSA members and things like that as we get closer. But again, if you have any questions, thank you, Margarita, for putting that in the chat, but my email is right there. And now we'll go back to the show.
Hey, number 6, another big issue here right now that we have in California schools, which is very tragic, that we have a lot of homeless kids out here right now in our schools. I can tell you in my community where I live right now, 10 years ago, the district free and reduced lunch rate was about 20%. It's about almost 60% now. You know, we got more and more poor kids today. We need to identify our homeless kids. We do a very poor job of doing it. California Ed Code requires posting of a poster at all school sites that defines homelessness. It tells you those who are doubled up and tripled up in an apartment or a house because they're trying to make it. You know, they got jobs paying minimum wage or whatever to two families. That's considered homelessness by legal definition, by both federal and state law. That poster has to identify that. You can bring that poster down. You can go to the CDE website and type up the name homeless poster. It'll give it to you in several languages, whichever one you want it in. That poster has to have the name of the district liaison, the rights of all homeless students at the school. Has to have the county liaison's phone number and the state liaison, which is Leanne Wheeler. This is very serious, folks, because again, in the past, there was up to 85, 90% of our kids when graduating from high school, they were homeless. They bounce around. And if you know, from moving to a new neighborhood, it takes 6 to 7 months to even, to get yourself acclimatized to a school site. It's very real. People move all the time, particularly with the pandemic. People are losing their jobs, etc. Homeless kids don't have to have shots when they first come in the door. They don't have to have proof of residence. They don't have to have, other things that they need. Just come on down. The price is right. Bring them on in. Because these kids also can graduate from high school with needing only 130 units, which is the minimum state requirements in California Education Code. There are 4 other classifications of kids along that same line who only need 130 units. Those are homeless. We have foster kids, military dependents. I was a military dependent. And every time, we changed school, they had different requirements. Luckily, my last 2 years of high school, I was able to stay stable. But prior to that, everybody got different requirements. Our migrant newcomer kids only need 130 units. And our kids who are coming out of juvenile halls only need 130 units when graduate from high school. Now, if they're making it on time, if they're within reason, they don't need the 130 unit rule. They get a regular high school diploma like everybody else. Like everybody else. It doesn't say homeless diploma on or foster diploma. It's a regular high school diploma. We know those kids are going to go to either a junior college or a trade school or work. And speaking of working, a lot of our kids right now are working. And as a result of that, one of our new laws that's been put out there is that the waiver of the requirement to have X number of credits and X number of grades and good attendance to get a work permit. And so because of the pandemic, so many families are out there that are hurting right now. And so we have now have the requirements waived for work permits for the during pandemic times. Happened to be in In-N-Out this weekend. In-N-Out, that's what a hamburger is all about. And I was shocked when I walked in there because they had a big giant sign as I'm getting my takeout order. Now hiring $18 an hour to start. I'm like, whoa, In-N-Out, that's what a hamburger is all about, 18. And it says after a while up to $20. That's good money for a high school kid, $18 an hour. And if you look at In-N-Out, again, that's what a hamburger is all about. You think about who the manager is in there if you ever go in those stores. Think about which one's the manager. The managers are making 6 figures and up, but you don't know which one they are. I do. I want you to try to figure it out. You could. I'll tell you the answer at the end if you really want to know which one's the manager in the store. But they work like a team. They do precision things, etc. So it's important that we identify these kids. If it's a potential new law next year that's going to require every parent on every school district fill out a homeless questionnaire every year. Now it's going to be embedded into the enrollment form, and it's going to ask them where they're living, et cetera, et cetera. Because a lot of times families, 2 or more families living in an apartment, there's a 2-bedroom apartment and there's 6 people there. That's a lot of people in 2 different families or blended families. That's homeless by law. And we need to get some help. The other thing we're going to realize too, when we start school back in the fall, and I'm sure we're going to start school back in the fall on the first day of schools, homeless kids don't come to school on the first day. They stay home. They make excuses. Well, why didn't you come? Well, Aunt Susie, got sick. My mom had to do this and we can make it. They make up because we know the first day of school is a fashion show. Look at me, my Forever 21s, Abercrombie and Fitch here, yeah, they don't have that stuff. And so that's why it's imperative that we get closed closets for our kids. We have lots of organizations out there like Shoes That Fit that will give our kids shoes. You know what these kids are, free of charge. We have Feed the Children. It's a national organization. I donate to them on a regular basis. You call them up, they'll give you backpacks fully loaded with school supplies, personal hygiene products, etc. All you gotta do is give them a call, and then you put it on your board agenda. They give you a donation. I'm talking about a whole truck. And I'm not talking about no pickup truck. I'm talking about the real deal, the big rig, full of supplies for your kids at your school. And they don't ask questions, just give them out. So it's important that we do this, folks. If this law is passed also, in addition to the current law, we're also going to have to post that on the front page of the websites and also tell them what their rights are, because a lot of parents don't know. Any questions regarding question number 6? Okay. Kujit Nijar, can you talk about what's happening at your school site? Is that poster up there? Let's go, confess your sins now. Come on, let's get real. What district are you working for?
Galt Elementary. We are
right outside of Sacramento, right? Okay.
Yep, right outside of Sacramento. Yes, we do have these posters all over our school sites.
Great. Glad to hear that.
Yeah, we actually have a district liaison, and she works with the county liaison.
Do you notice a big difference on the first day of school with the kids not coming, the homeless kids not coming?
You know, now that you have brought this kind of to the forefront, I would be curious to see. I would run in normal days, right, normal times, run an attendance report on students that are identified as homeless, and you know, are we seeing a large amount not coming those first couple of days? I haven't never thought about it in those terms before, but it makes sense.
Yeah. And it's real, because guess what? They come 2 or 3 days later, and then they get the combo class all of a sudden at the elementary school, the 3-4 class. Or if they're in high school, well, you know, we had that first period language arts class. It's not going to be 6th period, and we got first period swimming for you, waiting for you. Anybody in here take first period swimming? It's a good class. It'll wake you up quick. Okay, and they give you what you get what's left. This is real, folks. Okay, these kids also get the basic classes. They don't get our college prep classes at all. Across the state, this is a very tragic thing. Maybe Alice can talk about it himself, being a former deputy superintendent. Only about 40% of our kids in the state take college prep classes right now. You know that? 40%. That's all. This is tragedy waiting to happen. 40%. We got to increase those numbers. I'm going to move along. Number 7, leftover breakfast and lunch items. Wow, this is how you like this one. He say, what is this guy? This is real, folks. This kid will be your best friend. Senate Bill 557 was signed into law in 2018. It exempts prohibition of specified food and allows a sharing table to be made to pupils during the regular school time. In the past, a lot of the kids, all they care about is what? I want to get out in that recess playground. I just want to run out down that nook, forget them old nasty celery sticks and carrot sticks with that, you know, that sauce. I want to play. And they run out there. And then there's me, who's always hungry, you know, the kid, you know, and you want that? You don't want that? Fine, I'll eat it for you. You know, I'll eat that apple. You know what I mean? I like apples, you know, and nope, here comes the lunch lady, the lunch diva, or the noon duty aide. You can't touch that food, even though it's still wrapped up, and throw it in the trash can. Then they would throw milk on top of it to make sure you're definitely not going to touch it out of the trash can. You're like, wait a minute. Well, guess what it allows now? It allows meals that aren't eaten to be donated to a food bank, nonprofit charitable organizations, and also you can put a food sharing table at the school. You don't want that pizza? Great, I'll take it. You know what I mean? And what I also recommend, because again, a lot of these kids, they're so worried about playing. There's a program out there called Play and Eat. See, elementary kids go out and they want to run around and get their recess and lunchtime, and then they want to, you know, forget the food. And then they go back to class and they got to do science and they're burnt out. Well, what happens now is that what I've been recommending and advocating statewide is that let the kids go out and burn themselves out for 15, 20 minutes. And you have them line up right before after lunch is over, eat their food and bring it to the classroom. And that way, we've been showing, the studies have clearly been showing, discipline goes down, academic performance goes up, and the kids got a full belly. This is the real deal, folks. It really happens. Miss Edwards, are you there, please? Miss Edwards. Or Miss Newman, are you there?
Miss Edwards.
Miss Edwards, Tony, what school do you work at and what do you do allegedly?
I'm a vice principal at Wheatland Union High School, just north of Sacramento.
Okay, all right. Now Wheatland's not a, it's not a rich area there. Tell me, is this happening at your school site? Do you have this, this food table? I think everybody can just grab what they want, grab a couple apples and oranges or whatever.
No, but I think it's a great idea, especially for breakfast items, because some of our kids come in quite late. And so if we had leftover food items, I could see placing them where they're accessible for kids between classes.
Mm-hmm. So this has been a law since 2018 and nobody's doing it. And I go to school sites. I look around for things like that. Because a lot of kids, we just gotta change the way we do things, because again, you'll find that having that extra table of food, the discipline goes down. Academic performance increases. All because of what? Leftover breakfast and lunch items. But on the same token, we have this next one here, money owed for meals. I have seen kids who didn't bring their lunch money that day, or they ran out of money on their account at the school because mom forgot to put it to load the card up. They got what you call lunch shaming. They give them the alternative lunch, which is the cheese sandwich with some Miracle Whip on it, and everybody's laughing at them. Look, you got your money. Hey, you didn't have your lunch money. Look at you. You know what I mean? That's bullying right there. And then there's a fight gonna happen because all the kids know they ain't got your money again. That particularly happens a lot in middle income schools, and people, things happen, particularly at elementary, or the kids don't eat at all. They're too ashamed. They'll go out and play, knowing they ain't got no money that time. Well, guess what? Schools cannot lunch shame anymore. They cannot offer an alternative lunch anymore. If they do, Garnett will personally come after them. Also, I've seen there has been in the past where students have had discipline action taken against them. You can't you can't go on the field trip because guess what? Your mom owes us $5.50. What? Then the fight happens. Or you're suspended from school. What? This is real, folks. Miss Stephanie Brown, are you out there? Talk about it. You have lunch shaming at your school site. What do you do allegedly? Please, Miss Stephanie, are you there? Talk to us. All right. No Stephanie going once. Stephanie going twice. Rosanna, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. Tell us who you are, what you do allegedly.
So mine is a little different. I'm the adult ed site. I'm an assistant principal at Fontana Adult School. But I think we still fall under K-12. So all the things you were mentioning about the posters and stuff, I got to look into all that.
Yes, it is. It falls under you right next to the high school there. I know exactly where you are. 3575000 is the district office number, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my gosh. I have a thing with numbers, like I told you. And Craig Baker and I are good friends. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So again, yes, and that's a good question you brought up. Adult schools are under the umbrella of K-12 schools, and they have to follow the same rules as the K-12 schools are following. Moving along, this is another big one. This one here, this is the only ed code which can have you go to jail today. Do not pass go, do not collect $200, go directly to jail. This is a huge one because everybody's on this issue about discipline. A few weeks ago, CDE put out their discipline rates for the past year with this particular school sites prior pandemic and post-pandemic. And it's not pretty. We know that African-American males are suspended at triple the rate. I say the word triple the rate of everybody else. that African Americans in general are suspended at double the rate, you know, and we need to look about how we treat kids. But one of the big things the teachers have to be aware of, they have to know about the kid that they're getting in their class. And this law says that all teachers of a child must be informed of a previous discipline for the previous 3 years. And we're not talking about expulsion, we're talking about suspensions as well, or if they didn't get suspended, but they were involved in something, these teachers have to be told about it. What I call this in coaching terms is a scouting report. We had the Super Bowl on Sunday. And yes, the Tampa Bay won because that defensive coach scouted out how to stop Mahomes. He put double safeties in the back and he put flipped everything around and he frustrated him because he knew who the best player was and who the worst players were. They knew how to attack their linemen and everything else. Teachers, when the kids get the kids, they don't tell them anything about the kid. They don't tell them that you got Johnny the arsonist in the class. Susie's, coming from a divorce situation. You don't tell them anything like that. And so it's important that we notify our teacher. This is the law. If you don't do it, you'll be arrested. Now, not the assistant principal, but the principal will get arrested. And guess what? Your student loans are still due. This is the reality. Even at UMass, the new school we're going to at Brandon's going to change to, the student loans are going to still need to be paid. So this is real. You should have a system and plan in place to, at all times, anytime a child checks into your school or changes classes or goes from one grade level to the next grade level. And by the way, let you know, the top 3 grades in the state of California for discipline and suspensions are 9th graders, 8th graders, and 7th graders. Those are the top 3 grades. 6th graders are the 5th in the state, but it's a caveat. If you're a 6th grader at an elementary school, you are 32 times less likely to be suspended than you are by going to a middle school. What am I saying? The middle school don't work with 6th graders. Let them be 11. But somebody had this thing called Caught in the Middle back in the 1980s. That was my first administration job. I got sent over to one of them schools. The parents said, my 6th grader is going to be accosted by these 8th graders. No, ma'am, they're not. I'm going to take care of them, blah, 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 but it was real, but it don't work, I'm sorry. Look at the discipline, that's what I worry about, the students' mental health. Any questions? Okay, let me pick on somebody who's been quiet here.
Well, Sherman,
yes, go ahead. Ask the question, please.
I had my hand up because I had a question regarding notifying them for the last 3 years. So does having it available in our student information system where they can access the discipline information and all records count as notifying them, or does it have to be a separate notification, like where they
has to be a separate notification? That's a great question, by the way. See, a lot of people are doing that. Well, it's in the system. It's got a little asterisk. You look it up. No, the law does not say that. The law says you shall inform them exactly what occurred and when it occurred. It's not the responsibility of the teacher to go look it up. It's the responsibility of the administrator to tell that person what you're getting or what you got. So
can you tell me again what infractions this includes? Is it like all
all infractions except for smoking on campus? All infractions, defiance, fighting, cussing people out, everything.
So they have to get a separate report of any disciplinary infraction outside of the student information system for every student they have on their roster?
Absolutely, for a period of 3 years.
Wow. Okay. Non-compliance.
I appreciate your honesty. That's what I'm here to help you with.
Sherman, what about if you're in a high school district? Because they don't, are the middle school or the feeder schools required by law to share that information? Because we typically have not
law. The Ed Code is very specific. That discipline has to go in the cumulative file. It has to transfer it to that school with that new kid. When that kid moves, it has to go with them. Federal law requires it as well.
I did notice that once the peer of teachers started reading other teachers' reports, those reports got real clean in what they were putting into the data, the SIS system. So yeah, it does help clean it up.
And it's and if you're a K-8 district or a K-6 district, that stuff has to trail. It has to go, and you have to notify those teachers because, again, if I know I got Johnny the arsonist in the class, he's gonna sit next to me up front. Keep an eye on him. And I'm not going to hold it against him, but I know what I'm going to be safe, you know. And so we have to be able to give our teachers a fighting chance, because they don't. They're throwing so much stuff at them, you know. One of the things the teacher is going to have to get in the next couple of years, another requirement, we got to all get mental health trained, how to be able to assess mental health issues with kids. That's going to be a requirement in 2 years. We also have next year, not this year coming up, school year coming up, the new one, but the following year, all middle schools will start and high schools will start at 8:30. Yeah. So we got to get ready for all this stuff. We're going to have all these issues. My last item is parent contacts. You know, Ed Code requires that we have to fill out an emergency card every year to provide numbers. But let's get real. 3/4 of the phone numbers on the emergency card don't work. Let's get real, okay? And when I talk to schools about this, how come the phone numbers don't work? Oh, well, the parents moved. They don't want you to know the numbers, et cetera, et cetera. I said, wait a minute. Everybody's got a cell phone. Even the homeless have a cell phone. You go by a 7-Eleven or a Circle K or any other convenience store, you're going to see a homeless person out there plugged in, because they got them a free phone. We call it an Obama phone. And no, Trump didn't get rid of it, and neither is Biden. Now, it's called the Electronic Signaling Transmission Act, but they all call it Obama phones. You can get one right now. You go to a corner like next to a 99-cent store, you'll see a big tent out there that says free phone. It's real, folks. If you say you're poor, you give them a driver's license number, they'll give you a free phone on the spot. So they know there's no excuse for that. The problem is this. This is why the phone numbers don't work. Because guess who fills out the emergency card in middle school and high school? The kid does. That's an illegal practice. That's a permanent record that you're depending on a kid for. Let me give you what happened about 3 years ago in this particular school district, which we name nameless. Starts with an S though. And make you think about it. Kid comes to school. Girlfriend went to the other high school on the other side of town. And kid said, oh, I'm sick, because mom dropped him off every morning. I'm sick. He went to the nurse's office, played the sick role, and they called the emergency card. It was the girlfriend's number because he filled it out. Come get him. Well, just have him out in front. I'll be out and pick him up. And so kid goes out in front with his pass to go home instead of staying in the office till somebody come get him, which was, and the girlfriend picks him up. They go to the park next door, and most schools in California have a park next door to it. You know what I mean? They were getting ready to get it on, and guess what happens? They got mugged. Now somebody's going to be mad as hell. Got a mugging. You got 2 kids wanting to get it on, and the kids are hurt. Parents come up there and they live it. They suing because they didn't check the emergency card. This is very important. I can tell you, when I used to do WASP visits years ago, that was the #1 complaint, that parents were not accessible to the school, and the school said the parents weren't accessible to them. And I said, this is a real reason. They talking about we ain't got no phone numbers and everything else. This is real, folks. We've got to stay in practice with our school and stay in contact. But now we do all this stuff online. The schools don't even check the phone numbers. This is real. They just say, oh, we got it. Or in elementary school, now kids, take this home, and the first class that has it back by Friday gets a pizza party. Kid runs home, fill this out, Mom. And she just fills out any old thing. Nobody checks the numbers. The best numbers in schools are held by elementary school teachers, because guess what? They call those parents. They see the numbers don't work in the office. They ask the kid, can you give me your mom's cell number? They write it down. So if you're an elementary principal or assistant principal, go talk with your teachers, have a party, buy some pizza for them. They got the special right now going on at Pizza Hut, $7.99 for 3 toppings. Go buy some pizza and get those good phone numbers and put them in your system. This is real. We got to be able to communicate with our parents, particularly during the pandemic times. With that in mind, I say this to you. You can do this. We need you. A lot of us are retiring. Education is really a ministry. It's real. We need you, folks. My final words, don't live at your place of employment. Eat a lunch, not a 5-second lunch. have a sense of humor, and finally, be fair, be firm, and be compassionate. All rolled up into one. If you ever want to contact me, this is my cell number. I'm 24/7. I'm better than the Energizer Bunny, I tell everybody. This is my email address, my personal email, and I also have the ACSA email address as well. And with that in mind, I want to say thank you for putting up with me for the last hour, and I'll entertain any final questions or thoughts before you win those nice prizes that Margie has for you. Any questions or comments? Open up.
There was a question there. It wasn't my question. Nicole Newman asked for suggestions on how to notify your teachers of all past discipline.
What I recommend you doing is working with your IT folks right now, pull all that stuff down, and then take all your new kids and then look in their cumulative files and pull that information down and then have a big meeting. Because here's what's happening. If you are a district that's getting mandated cost money, that's mandated cost recovery money. If you're taking the block grant money, you still got to do the job. You just don't get the money because it's already been given to you. But it's an issue you do at the beginning of the year. Anytime, like I said, elementary school, anytime a new kid's file comes in, you should be looking at it and say, I need to tell this teacher what is going on. You know, this kid just came over here from Arizona. He had all kind of problems, you know. And the other problem with that is our cumulative files, they arrive late. Sometimes they don't arrive at all, most of the time. You got to call up that other school and keep bugging them and say, if you don't give me the file within 10 business days, which the law says, I'm coming after you. Because I need to know.
Can I ask a question to follow up on
Sure,
that?
please, go ahead.
When you say all discipline, that to clarify, that is all, like, that's ed code violations, right? So
That is correct. Even though they weren't disciplined, they weren't suspended. If it's an ed code violation, like defiance.
So if it's a second.
By the way, when our kids do come back to our schools, remember, you cannot suspend kids for defiance who are in grades TK through 8. Cannot be suspended for defiance. New law.
So ed code violations only, but does not necessarily mean that they were suspended for that ed code violation.
Correct. It says reasonably suspected to have been engaged in, what it says. That's ed code 49079. Other questions, please ask. That's what I'm here for. Alex, talk to me, Alex. Like before I call Maria on you.
You read it.
Okay.
Sherman, your student discipline workshop with your handbook, are you planning to have one of those this year or next year? Are you not?
Yes, I am with the San Bernardino County Superintendent of the Schools Office, Don English, and I, the CWA there. We're going to be putting on a workshop in the first week in June because we figure our kids will be back, and there's going to be all kind of mental health issues and due process and procedure issues. So Don and I are going to put a workshop on for a full day. They are going to be getting a copy of my new discipline book. This came out last week. And we're going to be training them all day.
When is that, Sherman?
First week of June. We haven't even advertised it yet, you know.
Okay.
But we are going to advertise it.
I think you just did. Okay.
And it'll be at the San Bernardino County Superintendent. And we're hoping that we can have face-to-face. We're hoping, but if not, we'll be doing Zoom. But if we do, we'll have it at the San Bernardino County Superintendent of the Schools Office in San Bernardino. And we'll feed you. You'll get to eat a real lunch.
Sherman, the handbook was great. Great workshop. I used the civility letter. You had a different name for it, but
I call it the FU letter. The FU
yeah,
letter.
I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. You can say it. I don't want to say it.
Okay,
But that letter is real handy. A couple times.
You were speaking of awards and love languages, and gifts are a lot of our love language. So in that terms, we're going to do a raffle. Margie, you're like the queen of raffles. Like, you're the queen of gift giving, that love language. I love it.
It must be because I love gifts too. So, you know, I always project my own likes and wants and desires on these events. Okay, we're actually going to let Amy from Brandman give away her raffle. She didn't get a chance to do that. So we'll start with that. So Josh, if you could pull up our raffle wheel.
must be present. I
That
hope.
wasn't excessive.
You must be
It's always
present, right?
noise.
Well, whose name is that? Yerlin Wong?
Is that person here? I haven't
Is
seen
that
them at all.
person here?
Unmute yourselves or forever not get your prize.
Okay, well, let's keep spinning until we hit a winner.
I just want that noise again. Let's just keep doing it.
Cy Olson. Was Cy Olson here? I saw his name earlier. Nope. Okay, keep spinning. Valentina?
I'm here. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
Valentina. Yay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you and
Yay.
I see you. That's awesome. So Amy, do you
Yay.
want to tell her what she won?
Yeah, so you have an exciting basket that's going to be heading your way, full of different things. You get a really cool travel mug, a coffee mug. Gosh, what else is in there? There's a lot of fun goodies that are packed in your bag coming your way.
Yay, thank you. I got my credential at Brandman. Yay, Brandman.
Oh, yay! I'll pop in an alumni hat then too.
Woohoo. Thank you.
And then Margie, I think you had the next one, right? Or
Oh, yes. We're going to do another prize, membership prize. So this one is for a dozen gourmet chocolate covered strawberries from Sherry's Berries. We're trying to honor, that it's Valentine's. So Josh, go ahead and spin that wheel. Does that say Shandia? Shandia, are you in the room? I don't think so.
I am.
You are?
No, I am
there.
in the
Oh,
room.
Shandia Edwards. Okay, great. There you are. Okay. I hope you like chocolate covered strawberries because that's coming your way.
Those would be
right.
wonderful.
Awesome. Okay, so we're really at this point supposed to be, I have another prize, but I thought I would save it for the very end. We do have an opportunity for you guys to break out into small groups so you can do a little bit of small group networking. Would you guys like to do that? Okay, awesome. So what we're going to do is break out into groups of about 5. So Josh, could we break them up into 5? And then your first question to talk about will be, what was the one thing new that you learned in Sherman's presentation? So we'll give you guys about, 5-7 minutes together, and then we'll bring you all back to the big room, and then you can share out a little bit.
We want to share out from our groups. Go ahead and unmute yourselves and share out. What were your ahas?
So I'll share from our group. We had a few ahas. We talked about the share table and how important that is. And that even during COVID times, if you have kids eating at school, you can throw the share stuff, in a bin, refrigerate it for a couple of days, and then bring it out and it'll be safe. The need for educating our parents about homelessness and how that's defined and resources that are out there. And then Alexander talked about the FU letter that Sherman was talking about earlier and how useful that has been in especially egregious cases on his campus.
Could someone from our group ask their question about COVID? Was it Chandia? Was it you? Or was it Mr.? I had a question, Sherman, for you.
Go ahead.
No, it wasn't me.
Valentina, was it you, honey?
No, Sherman, I do have a question.
Yeah, about the signage online. Are we required to have our signage online? Because we have it in, you know, around the campus, but not online.
It has to be online as well on the front page of the website.
Okay,
Front page. That's AB 34. You can look it up. The Assemblyman is Ramos. It was no opposition to this bill, and it tells you specifically. And it also includes mental health resources as well.
All right,
Sure.
we got some work to do.
Sherman, what was that legislative number, the bill number?
Assembly Bill 34.
34.
Sherman, now that they're all out in COVID situations, what needs to be transmitted online by law?
AB 34.
Just that, nothing else?
And then also, which is the mental health resources and the suicide prevention resources. That has to be, that's a new law. It has to be out there.
All right, any other comments or questions for this round? Nope, okay. You guys want to do one more breakout or you want to go straight to the prizes? I'll just ask the question then, the activity that I had for you at the breakout, you can just answer it here. So the question was, share one strategy you use to stay informed and up to date with your profession. Any volunteers? One strategy that you use to stay informed.
But the ACSA resources page. The tool.
Great answer. I like that. Other strategies?
I agree with that. I also come to lots of ACSA learning opportunities, and I'm never disappointed.
Great answer. Thanks, Gretchen. Anyone else? Other strategies that help you stay informed?
Sign up for the listservs for whether it's CDE or the county or ACSA or whoever, and make sure that you're getting all those notifications.
Great tip, Lorelei. Thanks for hanging out with us and staying till the bitter end. Hope the information
you want to
was
maybe
helpful.
talk about the next opportunity for our co-administrators?
Sherman, why don't you go ahead and talk about?
Well, I want to have our co-administrative committee, which is Alexandra and Chrissy. We put this all together, so I'll let them talk about what we had discussed.
I'll give them a hint in case they're
support.
In case they have forgotten. Yeah, so the next one's going to be about social emotional learning for your staff and students. So that'll be a good one, I think. So, make sure all of your peers know about that. We're going to be putting it on ACSA's LMS. That's where you're going to find the registration information. Pass it on. We'll make sure that you guys have the links. When I send out the follow-up email to this event, it'll contain the PowerPoint that Sherman used, the recording of the webinar in case you guys want to watch it again, and also the information for the next event, which is March 9th, I think, sometime in the first 2 weeks of March. So just look out for that information. Again, it's all focused on social emotional learning for your staff and students. All right.
And then our last one is going to be taking it to the next level, how to promote yourself, how to get to be the principal. And we're going to have some speakers and some HR people to help you and give you the tricks of the trade to go take it to the next level.
And if there's any categories you'd like to see, just let us know.
Yeah, feel free to reply to the email that I send you if there are other topics that you'd like for us to present to you. All right, otherwise, great seeing everyone. I know you're all tired and you're probably ready to go home and have dinner and whatever else. So have a good evening. Thank you, Sherman. Thank you, Chrissy, for being an awesome facilitator. Thanks, Alice. Thank you to our partners at Brandman. And of course, behind the scenes, Josh Peterson and our ACSA IT. Thanks, you guys.